Hey everybody, welcome to Enliven Wellness. My name is Tessa Gurley and I am an integrative medicine practitioner in training, here to tell you about some of your top CIRS, mold, Lyme symptoms. Today we're talking about sinus problems. So, sinus problems were like story of my life and probably something that you're suffering from too. So make sure that you stay tuned until the end of the video so that I can explain to you a couple of little things that you can do for your sinuses as well, that can help clear the sinus problems that you're suffering from. Now, first of all, please subscribe and like these videos and share them out on your social media, yo. Please, it helps the cause. And also comment. And if you're interested in working together, I love working with people one-on-one. Email me at tgurley7@gmail.com and we'll get you in for a 30-minute free consultation. So let's hop to it. Now, first of all, you guys are probably like, oh yeah, I have sinus problems, but do you actually know what your sinuses are? So your sinuses are pockets of air, really, and they're cavities. So they're not, there's nothing in them. They're cavities within your face. And you have 4 sets of sinuses. You have your frontal, your ethmoid, your sigmoid, and then you also have the maxillary, okay? So you've got 4 different sets of sinuses, or sphenoid sinuses. You have 4 different sets of sinuses in your face. And those are all air cavities. And these air cavities can get filled up with mucus, toxins, and a lot of other different little particulates that can cause sinus problems. So today I'm going to talk to you about the top 3 reasons why you might be suffering from sinus problems. Okay? All right. Numero uno could be, like I just was alluding to, your sinuses can get filled with particulates, toxins, things floating through the air, but also it can be filled with, like, so for example, you breathe in, right? And then you're going to suck into your sinuses little particulates that are in the air and around you. So if the air around you is not super clean, which really not really very much air is clean, then a lot of those particulates can get stuck up in your sinuses. And then they can cause inflammation and problems in your sinuses. But one of the things in particular that can happen in CIRS is MARCoNS, aka multiple antibiotic resistant coagulase negative staphylococci. Bah! Let's just call it MARCoNS, okay? So we have MARCoNS that can happen up in your sinuses, and basically what those are staph infections, little staph infection that is resistant to antibiotics. All right, so these are little staph infections that are resistant to antibiotics in your sinuses. And those can cause all kinds of problems, like inflammation, pressure, head pressure, not thinking clearly, brain fog, infection. Okay, it can cause you to have a lot of the symptoms that you're suffering from. And the MARCoNS can result from low MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone. So MARCoNS can proliferate due to low MSH as a result of exposure to biotoxins. Follow me? It's a little bit complex. But for right now, just realize that what could be going on in your sinuses are MARCoNS. Now you can get tested for MARCoNS. It's this test where you get a really long Q-tip and you shove it up in there and swab it around, and then you go and you get it tested to see if you've got these little buggers living up in your sinuses. All right? Now, so you could have these MARCoNS going on. Now, how are some ways that you can possibly get rid of them? Well, there's a lot of different ways. There are different nasal sprays that people use. You know, things like xylitol sprays, colloidal silver and EDTA. Let's see. You can use, there's a new one coming out that has like witch hazel in it. There is also beg spray. I personally like the colloidal silver. Some people herx with the EDTA combination. So there are ways to get rid of and treat MARCoNS, but you know, my favorite ways are a little bit more natural, and I like colloidal silver spray or xylitol. But you can also do nasal rinses. You can use a neti pot and colloidal silver as well. So number 1 cause for sinus problems could be MARCoNS. You can get tested, but you might just want to go on the assumption that you could just have them. It's very treatable. Now next, number 2 would be, oddly enough, what I've suffered from, and what I've noticed is gut trouble. So when my gut is unhappy, so are my sinuses. It's a very interesting correlation that I have noted. And what I'm going to tell you today is just a little bit about what could be going on. Now, this isn't totally backed by any necessarily any research that I have found, but this is something that I've experienced and that my other clients have experienced as well. When you have leaky gut, it can cause sinus problems in my experience, because what happens is those food particles, they get released, right? So leaky gut is essentially where the tight junctures in your gut pull apart. And then food particles get released through there, and then they go into your bloodstream, and then your body goes like, what the hell? And then it attacks those food particles as if they are invaders, causing all those kinds of brain fog, autoimmune reactions, gut dysfunction, malabsorption. So, and what I've noticed is that the unhealthier my gut was, the more clogged my sinuses were. So I was like, this is an interesting thing. Interesting. And then I started to put the pieces together. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying that vegetables, or I'm not anti-vegetable here or anti-fiber, but I do think that fiber is very irritating to the gut, and I think that we overconsume vegetables. Just saying. It's just not, that's a whole different discussion, but I really do think that we overconsume fiber in vegetables. Ask me about this later. Anyway, fiber can create a lot of mucus in your intestines, because your intestines will produce a lot of mucus to protect themselves from the fiber. Look at the work of Konstantin Monstrovsky. He wrote a book called The Fiber Myth, and it talks about this in depth. Very fascinating work. It really opened my eyes to the myth about how important fiber is in our diet. So just saying. And so if you have excess mucus in your intestines, you're probably gonna have excess mucus up in your sinuses. It's just what I have personally experienced. Now, another thing that could be going on would be bacterial overgrowth, SIBO. You could also have candida, and these different conditions can cause excess sinus pressure and mucus in your sinuses, in my experience, because you're having basically an allergic, and you're having a bacterial overload in your body, which is producing a lot of excess mucus. And if you look to traditional medicine, especially in Ayurveda, the Indian medicine system, they say that mucus is produced to protect the body. So if you have invaders in your body, or if you have inflammation in your body is going to produce excess mucus to protect itself. So if your gut is extra mucousy, your sinus is going to be extra mucousy as well. Now, you can also have histamine issues. That was, again, my biggest problem. So if you have a lot of histamine intolerance going on, that's in your gut, okay? Histamine intolerance is all over your body, but your gut is one of the main places that this manifests, because that's where your food is going, right? And if you have histamine intolerance, think of it. It's an allergic reaction, and it's a mast cell issue. And that can cause the release of massive amounts of histamine in your body, which will cause your nose to run. So if you have a leaky gut, that will definitely set you up for having more of a histamine intolerance. And then it will cause a higher amount of histamine in your body, which will produce more mucus, which will cause more sinus problems. It's a little bit complicated, but anyway, these are just some of, again, this isn't necessarily backed by a ton of research, but this has been my personal experience with the subject, okay? And yeah, so my number 2 reason that you have sinus problems is gut and histamine issues. Gut issues, but particularly histamine, bacterial overgrowth, irritation in your gut causing excess mucus, which will come back up into your sinuses. Now, number 3 is a little bit different, and this one is, again, just kind of basic, but you could actually just have something as simple as a jaw misalignment, okay? I know for me, if my nose is clogged, I have a series of exercises that I do to release my jaw, and then it allows my sinuses to drain more efficiently. And it's if my neck is out of alignment and my jaw is out of alignment, then also my sinuses are more clogged. So I'll show you just a couple of my favorite little, you want to make sure that your jaw is nice and stretched out, so you can do things like this. There's a whole set of jaw exercises that I like to teach the people that I work with, that you can kind of play with those ones that I just showed you. You make your circles this way, you can go this way and this way. Just make sure that your jaw is aligned, your neck is aligned. That's another reason why your sinuses may be really, really tight, oddly enough, is that your neck may be just out of whack, your jaw may be out of whack. And once you get those realigned, things start to fall back into place. Very, very cool. So, all right, number one reason why you could have sinus problem, let's just cohese everything, is that you could have MARCoNS, or just particulates and just cloggy nastiness up in your sinuses. So it's important to keep your sinuses clear with nasal sprays or nasal rinses. All right, number two would be gut dysfunction or histamine problems. Okay, so you need to make sure that you are working on gut health, that you're looking at your diet, that you're not taking in too much fiber. Really, look at the fiber myth by Konstantin Monstrovsky. All right, anyway, and then number three could simply be jaw misalignment or neck misalignment. So I hope this video was helpful for you. And again, if you're interested in working together one-on-one, please email me at tgirly7@gmail.com and say I'm ready. And thank you for being part of the Enliven family. I love you all so much. There is so much hope. You can get better. I had all the things, and I'm doing so much better now, and so can you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.